Hello, I'm Pat and a member of St Peter's Church, Elworth. I've been reading and hearing in the media a lot lately about certain people in the public eye who've been caught out cheating on their spouses. And of course the media have been lapping it up and making their juicy stories last as long as they can, with seemingly little or no thought to the partners who have been wronged. This got me to thinking about the power of a very little word, and that word is no. Think of the damage and hurt that can be avoided if we all use that word more often. For example, no, I cannot have a relationship with you because I'm married. And in my case, no, I can't eat that lovely piece of cake as my diabetes won't allow me to. The Bible says, let your yes be yes and your no be no. I think it's inferring that you should mean what you say and do not waver and change your mind when you know what is right. This dilemma is as old as time itself. But as we see throughout the Bible, the benefits of saying no when we know we should do far outweigh the fleeting pleasures of saying yes. Likewise, saying yes to something when it's difficult to do so also has a great effect. Some examples of this come to mind and go way back to the Old Testament. We've had Aaron, who didn't say no when the people of Israel asked him to make an idol in the form of a golden calf, and he greatly displeased God. There was Samson, who said yes to Delilah when he should have said no, and ended up losing his dignity, self-respect, and ultimately his life. What about the woman who was first to say yes when she should have said no? Eve in the Garden of Eden. Her choice to say yes had consequences we're still living with today in the form of sin. We then have the people who chose to say no. Joseph, who said no when Potiphar's wife tried to seduce him. For a while it looked like he'd made the wrong decision, but the power of no came into play and he was eventually elevated to being the king's right-hand man and saving the country from famine. And what about Daniel, who was set up by jealous people but who said no to worshipping anyone but God and not King Darius and was thrown to the lions? God closed the lions' mouths and saved Daniel. The king, who realised he'd been tricked by Daniel's enemies, had them killed instead. Similarly, Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego, who again said no, we will not worship a golden statue, only God. King Nebuchadnezzar threw them into a fiery furnace, but God protected them. The king looked in and saw a fourth person in the furnace. Some scholars believe it was an angel or even Jesus himself. He then decreed that their God was indeed mighty and was to be feared and respected. I'm sure you can think of many more examples of people who saw the power of the word no. Also, on a positive note, what about the people in the Bible who chose to say yes when it had been so much easier to have said no? There's Moses, who saying yes to God led the Israelites to freedom. Abraham, who said yes when God asked him to sacrifice his only son, and because of his obedience became the father of nations. Esther and Noah, and I'm sure many more. Not forgetting Mary, who said yes to God and gave life to Jesus, and Jesus, who said the ultimate yes to God. I hope I haven't bored you too much, and pray that you and I will be able to say yes to God when he asks uncomfortable things of us. Also that we will be able to say no to temptation and listen to our inner voice of conscience, thereby invoking the power of that very little word, no. God bless.